Most insane criminal reactions ever recorded in courtrooms. From killers brazenly flipping off their victims to others committing crimes so heinous they hide behind masks, here are some of the most horrific killers and their craziest courtroom reactions ever recorded. Warning, content in this video may be distressing for some viewers. Ricky Hand, a 46-year-old Ohio man, had been frequently ripping off local convenience stores. His luck ran out one night when he targeted John's drive-thru. John, the store owner, wasn't just any shopkeeper. Armed with a gun, John opened fire, injuring Hand, who managed to escape but was caught at the hospital seeking treatment days later. After questioning and a trial, Hand was sentenced to 40 years for an array of robberies, many of which he had never been caught for. However, Hand lost his composure upon hearing the sentence. In court, he absolutely lost it. He had hidden bottles of feces and urine under his arm sling he was wearing for his bullet wounds, smuggling them into the courtroom. As the judge delivered the sentence, Hand threw the bodily fluids at his defense lawyer and managed to hit 4 deputies in the process. The only thing Hand achieved from this stunt were another 5 counts of harassment with bodily fluids added to his rap sheet. Clark County Sheriff Gene Kelly confirmed Hand should have been checked prior to entering the courtroom, and there was a tip-off saying Hand may be armed with feces. However, instead of an additional security check, more deputies were assigned to this court to keep Hand under control. Sounds like they got more than they bargained for, as Hand was a total mess. With the additional charges he now faces, in addition to the sentence he received on that day, Hand will spend at least the next 40 years in the slammer. T.J. Lane was an American high school student, often described by his teachers as a nice and rather guarded person. No one knew that on February 27, 2012, 17-year-old T.J. Lane would walk into his school cafeteria with a .22 caliber pistol, firing all 10 rounds at random students. In the chaos that ensued, teachers frantically called 911, reporting an active shooter on the premises. By the time officers arrived, TJ had taken 3 lives and injured 6 other students. The remaining teachers and students were left in total shock once law enforcement had secured the area. While TJ's crime had many parents concerned about their children's safety, his behavior during the trial shocked and outraged everyone. After entering the courtroom, TJ unbuttoned his shirt to reveal a white t-shirt with "Killer" scrawled across the front. As he addressed the victims' families, he said, "This hand that pulled the trigger that killed your sons now masturbates to the memory." Everyone in the courtroom was taken back by his behavior. TJ never explained why he committed the crime. As he was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole, he smirked while listening to the verdict, showing no signs of remorse. Number 3. Esteban Carpio. In 2005, the sight of a masked man with swollen eyes and a bruised face in court left the public speechless. Was this a case of police brutality, or was there more to the story? On April 17, 2005, Americans woke up to the news of the brutal murder of Detective James Allen at a Providence police station. During an interrogation, Detective Allen and his partner were questioning 24-year-old Esteban Carpio about an attack on an 85-year-old woman. However, when Allen's partner left the interview room to get water for Carpio, a struggle ensued between the two, resulting in Carpio grabbing Allen's gun and shooting him twice in the chest. Tragically, Allen succumbed to his injuries, while Carpio jumped out of a 3rd-floor window only to be caught 45 minutes later. As he appeared in court, his face was bruised and swollen, with his eyes and cheeks red and puffy. According to the officers, it was the result of his own resistance during arrest. However, Carpio's family claimed it was police brutality. And as he was presented in court wearing a bite spit mask, the family claimed it was to hide the injuries. An FBI agent was appointed to investigate the case as Carpio's family insisted on police brutality, but evidently concluded the case, finding that no civil rights violations were committed by the Providence police. Carpio was found guilty and is currently serving a life sentence without parole in a high-security prison in Suffield, Connecticut. On January 11, 2018, a man named Elis Nelson was seen seen struggling in the courtroom, saying, "I'm not going to let the judge say crazy shit about me," as he was forcefully restrained by officers. Elis Nelson was accused of fatally beating a 4-year-old boy who was left in his care, along with assaulting several other kids under the age of 11. Nelson was dating the child's mother, and they had been living together and often left the child in his care. According to officers, they found the child in the kitchen completely unresponsive and bruised from head to toe. Nelson denied beating the child, but the children's testimony in the autopsy report said otherwise. Reports show the child died of internal bleeding, which could only have been caused by an adult. Additionally, he had injuries to the top of his head, lower back, buttocks, and 2 broken ribs that were in the process of healing. Nelson's girlfriend, who claimed she had no idea about Nelson beating her child, was confronted when neighbors testified otherwise. The judge sentenced Nelson to life in prison without parole for the killing and an additional 80 to 150 years for child abuse, and said to Nelson, "You are the lowest form of human life that I've ever been able to observe or see." However, Nelson continued to claim his innocence, causing an outburst when the judge delivered the verdict and having to be restrained and removed from the courtroom and sent directly to jail, where he will have the rest of his life to reflect on his putrid actions. Number 5, Jahleel Hoskins. On March 19, 2013, police were dispatched to a home in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Latrice Mays, a mother of 5, had called 911, claiming her boyfriend Jahleel Hoskins assaulted her. However, upon arrival, officers found no evidence of a physical altercation. That was the last time anyone saw her. The next day, Latrice's family reported her missing. Police questioned Hoskins, who claimed he didn't know where she was. Forensics searched their home but found no signs of foul play. A month later, Hoskins' cousin, Gregory Shanklin, was arrested for perjury. In a shocking courtroom revelation, Shanklin testified that Hoskins had confessed to killing Latrice. He described how Hoskins choked her, wrapped her body in a sheet from her daughter's bed, and disposed of her in a dumpster. Despite his initial denials, Hoskins broke down in court, admitting to the murder of Latrice Mays. He received a life sentence for his actions. After his confession, Hoskins' true nature was revealed as he erupted in anger during sentencing, flipping over courtroom furniture before authorities rushed in and manhandled that menace all the way to the big house, hopefully bringing some degree of closure to Latrice's grieving family. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and let us know your thoughts.